Hello everybody, welcome to another video. My name is Infiniti, and if you don't know, I'm the face, the voice, and the hands behind all the content here under Infiniti Crafting Co. and the blog site InfinitiCraftingCompany.com. Today I am back with Channel Chat 108, and today is my Christmas episode. So, Merry Christmas everybody, to all of you who celebrate. In years past, I have done videos every Christmas, so this will be, what, the fifth one? The fourth one, something like that. I've been at this for quite a minute, and so today I thought it would be fun since there are so many new faces in my community. I figured that I'd sit back and just kind of do a rewind and unwind. So if you just want to hear me ramble for a little while, welcome aboard, kick back with your projects, and yeah. So first and foremost, I wanted to say a huge thank you to my community. This year, y'all, okay, so a lot of you guys know this year has not been the best year for me. Just a lot of life stuff going on, a lot of figuring stuff out, and in that process, you know, just the overall support of my community has been outstanding, and I appreciate you guys so much. We are now almost at 10,000 subscribers. Let me look. Let me look for a specific number. As of today, there are 9,888 subscribers to this channel, and I want to thank each and every last one of you. In January, there were almost 5,000, or I just hit 5,000 on New Year's, something like that. So, you know, just the idea to me that I've been able to double my community almost in the span of 12 months has been really amazing to me. So to see all those results and all the overwhelming support for my blog has been quite nice, and I appreciate it so much because none of this would be possible without you guys. Today I wanted to talk about Infiniti Crafting Co. because I feel like it's been a very long while since I've done that, and not everybody knows the story behind it. How did we come to be? Or I say we, but it's just me. Which I'll have another point to that later. But, you know, this did not always start out as Infiniti Crafting Company. Well, okay, so I've been crocheting for almost 10 years now. Okay. I was trying to do the mathematics. I was like, I was 15. Wait a minute. Just had my 25th birthday back in November. So, you know, I guess I have solidly hit that 10-year crochet anniversary. But that's great. That's awesome. I don't know. I feel very blessed to have been able to work with my hands for most of my life, and then to be able to like pick up these crafts and share them with people, and definitely work outside of my comfort zone with a lot of things. It's just been outstanding, and I can appreciate the growth as a human being. I'm so blessed to be able to do this. And again, well, thanks to you guys. So this started way back when I first started crocheting at 15. You know, I started off practicing with garments for my stuffed animals because I'm a big kid and I have stuffed animals. It's not an insane collection, but teddy bears, okay? So I would make sweaters for them, and I found that I liked that. Then I learned how to make hats finally, because when I first started crocheting, every hat that I tried to make was a cone, and I don't know why. I didn't know why at the time, but now I do. Now I do it on purpose, and I made Santa hats. But back then, you know, it was just part of the process. And then I had a lot of spare time because I didn't get a chance to go to high school. And in that time frame between then and 2016, when I set out to get my high school equivalency, I just had a lot of time to practice. And I really made it this meditative thing where I can, again, just express myself. I've always been a creative, but I've had my ups and downs with traditional artwork and things like that. So for those times where I wasn't maybe painting or drawing, I was doing these fiber arts to that point. And then while I was at the little like study center studying for my high school equivalency, of course I would crochet in my spare time because I either catch the bus or walk. So like if I'm resting before I have to walk, I'll make a few stitches, or if I'm working on a big project, I'll have it with me so I can work on it and make progress on it and things like that. So during that time I was doing that, and I kind of built a fan base, so to speak, and I started making stuff for people and making stuff for the community closet so people can have hats and scarves and things during the winter times, and sometimes baby blankets, things like that. And it's so cool. One of those years later on down the road, I got pictures. People came back and were like, here's my kid with this stuff on, and I was very touched at that moment. But that was like a few years down the line, and it's one of my proud moments. I still have the picture in my pattern book. I have this what is it, a binder, where I keep most of my patterns in. Now I have a few patterns that I have handwritten, and they're scattered around the studio. So I'm going to take time over this break to kind of reorganize, get my life together a little bit. Today's tutorial was the last tutorial. I think I'm going to make that the last tutorial until probably mid-January sometime. Your girl needs a break. She does. And I'm glad that I've been able to hold up for this long, but I could use the time to like kick back, finish weaving in ends on projects, finish hatching out things with those socks, the knitted heels on those socks. So I was so proud of that sock, and today when I came back in the studio, I guess when I took it off, something popped out of place. I don't know what I did. I don't know if I didn't weave it in enough, apparently, because there's a massive hole in that sock. I'm like, you know what, it's fine. It's fine, everything's fine. But anyway, I digress, as I do often. Going back to that point, once I started making stuff for other people and like getting requests and commissions for that kind of thing, I started to kind of think about it like, okay, I'm gonna have this little like side hustle, small business thing, and I called it Infiniti Crochet because it's all I knew how to do was crochet, and I was doing it fairly well. People liked my stuff, so I what did I do? I started making letterheads. I believe a couple years later. Well, was it a couple years later? I feel like it was. A couple years later, when I ended up having to go to our sister campus to take classes for the education part of my degree, my first degree, I was over there. I sat up and designed posters and flyers and stuff, trying to get people to join my YouTube channel, but this was like a couple years later. Because obviously I didn't start this YouTube channel until October of 2018. It was actually October 1st, and so this recent October marks my 4th anniversary, so now we're into the 5th year, and this is going to be interesting. I can't wait to see what happens next year. But during that time, I really got to learn about what commission work for like actual pay, because I would do artistic commissions in the past, and they were for like intangible like credits and things like that. So it was like, okay, but like actually doing real world work and interacting with people and commission work, it was a roller coaster. So much so that eventually I got burned out on it, and I have not done I had not done a commission in many years, probably since 2018, up until recently, where I did one for the water bottle holder, but that was a totally different story. So as I continued to build my skill and learn how to knit and things like that, I started shifting. I'm like, okay, Infiniti Crochet won't work because like eventually I'm going to learn how to do more things, or eventually I'm going to want to incorporate my artwork into my business, so I need like an umbrella name. And so that's where I was like, okay, Infiniti Crafting Company really works. And so that was about the middle of 2017 that I decided on that. And as that year went on, of course, I was able to get prints and stuff and change my letterhead and things like that to Infiniti Crafting Company. Okay, so I have told this story before. 2018, when I ended up going out to the sister campus, not only did I have a lot of time because of commuting and public transportation, I also had a lot of time, especially towards the end of the year, where I ended up having to take art classes at that campus, which weren't as good as the ones that I was taking at my home campus. And so by the fall of 2018, I was like, you know what? I'm going to put in minimal effort in these classes, which sounds so bad, but I did it and still ended up with straight A's because they just weren't that good. But anyway, I digress. I started my YouTube channel in October of 2018, and it started off, I think it was the cable spoke rug, and I might have done some very basic how to do double single crochet type tutorials. At the time I was just thinking back about how I learned how to crochet, because it was clearly from YouTube videos, and I was like, okay, that would be fun to like contribute back and like do things. And I felt like there was a opening there, a niche there, because there weren't a lot of like young people doing the videos back then, and or at least to my knowledge I didn't see many, so I figured I'd jump on it and start working at it. And initially I had like this $13 tripod with my cell phone, and I was recording these videos, and it was not the greatest. I was working on my old desk before I put the contact paper down. It was a real experience. If I were to ever go back and rewatch those videos for the cringe, I feel like they would legitimately make me cringe. But anywho, beyond that, I feel like the starting of my YouTube channel really gave me the opportunity to grow as a person. I was very shy and reserved, and I still think I'm a little reserved, but I'm more willing to be on camera these days than I was back then. It was a struggle, and you know, I like to smile as I think about the growth, because again, this is another one of those blessings in disguise where it's like, okay, I'm going to do this thing as a hobby, but then it ends up transforming you as an individual, and I think that's great. Within that first month of me just enjoying uploading videos, I was like, you know what, I got to do better. So I got the camera that I currently record on now after a month, and I've been working with that since then. So like I got to spend time nerding out about how like digital cameras work and how to edit video and whatnot, because 2019 I had to replace my old computer, and um, my new computer did not have Windows Movie Maker on it, which was what I was using at first. And so I had to start investing in editing programs, and so I did, and I've learned a lot about that. I feel like there's still a lot to learn, but for what I'm doing at the moment, I don't really need a whole bunch of fancy things. So like I know enough to get me by, and that works for me at the moment. And then in combination with the graphic design course that I'd taken in 2018 over the summer, that was an interesting turning point also, because that summer, like I said, I had to take a graphic design class to graduate, so I took it over the summer out there at the sister campus, and I don't know, it was one of those moments where you can just see all the bricks fall into place like Tetris done correctly. And during that lecture, I should have probably been listening, but I was half listening, and I was also doodling out the rough draft of my logo that I used up until 2020. And I also that summer started designing my website, which was a totally different appearance as opposed to what it looks like now. But nonetheless, I got started on all of that, and I worked about 2.5 years on that website until I could launch it, and that was really great to me, because when I first started out crocheting and I like noticed people liked handmade things, I was like, okay, I should probably have a website. But younger me, one, did not have a job, and also younger me just had no idea about, well, I had an idea. I knew how to do basic web design, but it's like it wasn't something that I was just into at the time, and so I just didn't go about it, because I'm like, I don't have the resources to launch this website, so I'm not going to start this now. But a couple years later, I started like really trying to save for it and do things or whatnot, and it still ended up taking me 2 years after that. But nonetheless, I am nothing if not persistent, and ended up launching my website back in 2021, which has been great. And I really enjoy the freedom of having my own website now, because for one, first and foremost, when I first started releasing patterns back in 2018, I think it started off with my duck and my Santa hat. And I used to upload my patterns to Craftsy, because it just felt like a good spot to be for like discoverability and things like that. And I enjoyed hosting my things there. But later, at the end of 2018 or the beginning of 2019, they did a total rebrand, and it was no longer the website where you go buy yarn and host your patterns, but it's like now a craft class type website. So at that point I was like, dang, I was really like out because I didn't have anywhere to upload my patterns. And then for a little stint I was on Ravelry, but I didn't really care for it over there either. Like the uploading process wasn't great, and then like just a number of other things, I just didn't like it over there. So I ended up using Etsy in 2018, and I've had that shop since then. And at first I was kind of shy about my patterns. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm good enough, that kind of imposter syndrome thing. And so I didn't really advertise it that much, but I would make a sale here or there, and I'd be happy about that. So that was cool. And by what 2019, yeah, 2019, I was kind of designing more. I'd had a few extra patterns out there in the world, but I wasn't really full-time sitting out hashing out patterns and things like that like I am now. And by the time the end of 2019 came, I know that I've fleshed out a lot of other stuff with my channel. Like I nixed the whole fine art thing with my fiber arts channel because I'm like, this is just too much and I'm burnt out. And I felt like the concentration was more so on the fiber art content here, so I was fine with that. So I gladly dropped doing the artwork on Saturdays. And I've wanted to bring back an artsy Saturday, and I did, I think last year, start a new art channel, but I haven't done anything with it yet, so, you know, it's floating out there. But eventually I plan on doing some really neat stuff and having it uploaded over there, which I'll let you guys know in case any of you are following me for my art from all those years ago. My bad. You know, by the time 2020 came around, I was really reeling because I'd graduated the summer before, and then I was trying to get into a university. My first choice rejected me actually, and so I was like, oh well, you know, I guess I'll take classes until I get accepted somewhere. So by, by the end of February in 2020, I was excited because I was making a bunch of plans for the channel, and then I'd got accepted into the current university that I'm in right now, and I'd gotten my substitute teaching certificate. Everything was falling into place. And then spring break turned into a perpetual spring break, as you know, everything moved online and things like that. So then I found myself having ample free time because that first semester or two of online classes was a dumpster fire for everybody. So like nobody had set deadlines. It was a circus, but we all got through it, for better or for worse. We all got through it. And what I value most, I guess, about that year was just the ability to sit back with my channel and do all the things. By May, I again had lost I'd lost one of my jobs that I'd had, so like my income was like dashed. And so I was like, okay, well, you know what, this is you know, a great time to start putting my handmade items on Etsy. So up until May, I had been working on different things to stock as inventory during that year, and I did it, and I launched in May. And you know, between May and December, it did pretty okay ish. I wasn't mad at it at the time, and I was like, okay, this is the start to great beginnings. But at the end of the year, and like around tax time, I was looking at it and I'm like, you know, I could really be making the most out of my like shop owning experience. And so that was part of the reason why I wanted my own website. And I was, again, just this close to like being there to be able to afford. I think when I launched my website, it was like $375. So I was right there on the verge of launching it. And so by February of last year, I was able to hit that publish button, and I was excited because like when it came to doing the like financial part of my Etsy shop and stuff, I'm like, well, that's a heck of a cut you're taking. And so like naturally I didn't want to put my artwork on Etsy because I was like, okay, Okay, I put too much time and effort into my art, and for like somebody to come and take this much of a chunk out of it. And don't get me wrong, I think the platform is okay for like brand recognition, because some people will only shop on a platform because they like have their whole pattern library there, and I get that. But by 2021, I was just over the moon. I moved all my inventory and product descriptions and stuff over to the website, and I was able to launch it, and that was really great to me, and it's still really great. I don't know what I expected from AdSense that first year, but that was not great. That was not great. But over time, I've been able to upload my patterns freely over there, and for free. Like, there's no listing fees for me to put my own patterns on my own website, and I get paid everything, and it's great. I think there's just a small like transaction fee that the host takes from me, but like nothing like what the other platform was. So, I remain on Etsy, but I keep my patterns over there. But honestly, I prefer to have them on my website, and so I started putting some patterns that were just exclusive to my website over there, like the Genesis top. I think that was actually the first like website exclusive one that I have that's not anywhere else. I'm trying to remember my patterns now, and I can't. So I feel like at the end of the video, I should just put up a little video, well, not video, photo montage. There we go, of all my patterns that I've released over the last 4 years, because it'd be kind of nice. I think I have 30. I want to say 30. Including this one. I wore this today because it is Christmas, and also because I put the free pattern on my blog on Friday. I know it's too late to be making a sweater for Christmas, but next year, it's there. I also submitted my pattern to All Free Crochet for this one, for the blog post, and then the paid version is in the library without all the ads and whatnots in there. So if you want to support the channel, those are a couple ways you can. Make sure you share them. Speaking of sharing, you guys have been on it for the year of 2022. My videos here on YouTube have been shared almost 8,000 times, and like at the time of this recording, that's like almost 90% of my audience. Like if 90%, like each of those 8,000 people on my subscriber list shared, that's like 90%. So that's amazing to me, because like sometimes when I'm sitting up and I'm putting out all this content and it feels like crickets are coming back, sometimes I feel like I'm the only one sharing my stuff. And even though I know it's not true, when I see the actual statistics and stuff, because YouTube sends out their creator review in December, when you see that, it's heartwarming, and it made my whole month. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing my content with your friends, with your groups. I appreciate it so much, because it helps the channel to flourish and lets me know that you guys want to continue to hear me talk about crochet and knitting. So, if you want this to, linger around into the years to come, then keep doing what you're doing. I absolutely love you guys for it. So where were we? 2020? Yeah, 2020. So by the end of 2020, I had determined that, okay, for sure, in the new year, I'll be able to launch this thing of my own and manage this thing of my own. And so I did, like I said, transfer everything over to my website, and I just left my digital pattern library up on Etsy for people who would only shop over there. And, I've had over the last 2 years, I've had about even results with that. I think I do have a crowd of people who are like Etsy exclusive customers, and I'm not knocking that at all. So that's why I keep putting my designs over there. But there are perks to shopping on my website, such as like the price difference between those patterns on Etsy or Coffee and the price difference on my website. They're different. So there's that. There's also just the blog experience. I can blog about pretty much anything I want, and I don't know, it's a nice feeling. It's a nice feeling, and being able to figure out how to manage certain aspects of, I guess, business. I also have a hard time calling this my business. It's weird for me. It's just weird, okay? But it is, and I don't know, I feel like I've learned a lot. And then in the mix of everything, I've been taking more business classes, because when I first went into college, guys, I wanted to do business and math and education and art, and I, that's why I did art education, and then I was going to do like a business minor certificate or something, but I couldn't afford that financially. I had no help. I have had no help. If it were not for scholarships, I would be so up a creek. But nonetheless, I've been taking a lot of business courses and like stuff with accounting because that interests me as well. So I don't know. I feel like I am well rounded in a sense. You know, I've become well rounded because of this path that I've decided to take. So yeah, I 2021 was pretty good. I spent that year making inventory. I think I set up and made 96 scrunchies because I had 19 colorways for that first wave of scrunchies, and then I made like 4 or 5 of each of them. So yeah, I was buried alive in scrunchies, and I still am as I go through my inventory. So, you know, I will see how these move also. There's a lot of things that I need to move and I no longer want to keep. So we'll see how we get that out of here. If they find new homes, great, or if I end up donating it, great. But either way, at some point I plan on eventually returning to making things. Probably not as prolifically as I was, but I found that it's easier and less stressful to write patterns and let them exist on the internet than to like put all my heart and effort into making handmade items and then they just, you know, stay in inventory for forever. So, you know, there's pluses and minuses with all of this. I think that by the end of 2021, I was pretty darn hopeful for this year, and I remember releasing the chain link cowl pattern for New Year's, which, hey, it's Christmas, y'all still have a week. If you want to check that video out, it is a free pattern, both on my blog and on the YouTube channel. And I think I linked the blog to the YouTube channel, so you should be able to find all that in one spot. I was also dealing with a lot at the end of that year, because I think when I was doing the photo shoot for that, I discovered that somebody had stolen the air conditioner off of my house, which was a revelation. And then, so, you know, going into this year, having to get that fixed, there's a few things we got fixed. Got like a door replaced, got that fixed, and it was fun. At the beginning of 2022, you know, had stuff going on with the gutters because we had ice over, so like part of my ceiling caved in over there, which was a little too close to where I used to have my recording space, and it was also like right above where I was storing my shipping stuff, so I had to move that quickly and replace some shipping products and things like that, so that was fun. And then everything with my mom passing and the rest of the year just adjusting to things. I went through probate, which was fun. Uh, and then in September, I fell and broke half of my tooth out of my mouth, which was great. Still hasn't been fixed. I've been bounced around like a hot potato dealing with dentistry. So, you know, at the end of the day, being able to come over here and do my thing is really, really nice. And it's relieving. It's stress relieving. So needless to say, I'm looking forward to 2023 being a very boring year. I don't want any excitement next year. The only mild excitement I want is when I release a crochet pattern. That is it. That is it. This year has not been, like I said, the best, but in all things considered, it could have been worse. So there's that. But in a happier light, this year apparently has been really great for the channel, and again, that's all because of my community. For one, I have Google's been like, oh, you know, you've had like 2,000 hits to your website, which was really great. I was happy for that. Because also earlier this year, which I almost forgot about, I got hit with a spam bot attack on my website. So now when you see the catchba thing on my website when you go to sign up for it, that's why. Because I was getting like hundreds of hits per day. And turns out it was from somebody I knew. It's interesting how that works. But, yeah, I got hit with a mass spam attack. The thing lasted over like 3 months. And I was like up to here with it because I'm like, I just want genuine signups? Why are all these emailers showing up on my list that do not exist? So anyway, I eventually hashed that out, and I haven't had a problems with that since. But that was not fun at all. Not fun at all. But that aside, the impressions on my website have been going up, so that means people are finding it. But what was interesting about that was that it wasn't what I thought. Like, the content that I thought was like on the rise on my website was not what was actually boosting my website up. It's actually all the material that I put out. So, and no, I have not forgotten about the machine. I still have content planned for them. It's just that right now I am trying to sort through some special things for next year's sake, but communication is painstakingly slow and silent at the moment. So I will talk more on that next year after some things have been resolved. But I do have that content planned out, and actually over my break I plan on doing a little bit of recording, but I'm trying not to speak too much about future things because here lately, over the last couple of years, when I specifically set out to record things and have things all set up and whatnot, it ends up like falling through, and I feel bad about it because I feel like I've taken off so much time from work because I'm a workaholic. So, just to kind of rein that in, I'm not going to promise. I plan on coming back in mid-January with some content. Again, just sitting back and planning it out. Right now I have patterns planned out. I think like the first 4 projects planned out, and one of them is almost already done. So that's exciting. Then I get to weave in ends on my pocket shawl. Just been hanging on my mannequin because it took another backseat. I keep putting this thing on the back burner. I feel bad for it, but I really love how it turned out, and I would love to take some pictures while there's snow on the ground. But the other day when I was like, oh, the snow looks beautiful, it was also -5 degrees, and I looked at the snow and then it looked at me, and I did not go outside. So that will come about at some point. It's an autumn pattern, guys, so I don't know if I'm going to release it in January. It feels kind of weird, but I do have a couple of projects that I'll be working on in January, so you'll be able to see the progress on those over on Instagram. Again, I've been doing better with putting up whip pictures on the blog, and writing blogs about my whips. So whether you sign up for the newsletter or whether you follow me on Instagram, you'll be able to see the progress of that. Speaking of progress, you guys, it's been a few days since I've actually tried this on. I posted a short about it, so if you want to see it, I'll leave it linked at the end of this video and also down in the top comment. This was a very fun process, and I found that I really like how this fits. Like the sleeve, it looks outrageous, but it's actually very breathable. And given that, I feel compelled to make another one. We'll see about that, but I feel compelled to make another one just in solid colors that doesn't look like Christmas threw up on me. I love this sweater so much though, and I really wanted to put the jingle bells on them, and maybe I'll do a video on it next year about the jingle bells. We'll see. But I think this is sufficient for now, especially since I'm not going outside in it at the moment. Just like, it's not really a point to it. But nonetheless, let me see. I ran down that whole backstory to Infiniti Crafting Co. But now it's Infiniti Crafting Co. Obviously, you guys know that. And now I'm finding new ways to incorporate my artwork and my fiber arts together. So I found that the ceramic thing was a happy middle ground. I am so happy with how those pieces turned out overall, especially, like I said, after they came out of the brimstone and I scrubbed them. I really got to see those colors shine through, and it's just a really great result. So if you haven't seen those yet, you can check the community tab because I have posts about them. They're all named. I named them all. I don't really know what gave me the idea in the dead of night to name them all, but as I was listing them on my website, I decided to go ahead and do that. And I think that the next season, I don't know, I want to experiment with some more vibrant, like springy colors. Maybe, I don't know, but if I do that, then they probably won't be raku. They'd probably be something like a high fire thing, which, again, I kind of nerded out about that the last time, so I won't put you guys through that again. But no, so, interesting thing, right? In the month of December alone, here on this channel, you guys have watched my content almost 50,000 times, which is astounding to me. And I find that each year, you know, my views are higher in the winter anyway, or in the months leading up to winter than opposed to like summer months. But I found that like year over year, that number just keeps growing and growing, and that excites me because it lets me know that you guys are actually enjoying the content that I put out. Because sometimes, like I said, it's a shot in the dark. I put out things that I find interesting or that I think you guys want to see. So that's why those community polls are important, because I'm trying to engage you guys and figure out what you want from me. A lot of you want more central content, which again, I'm excited to do. I have some planned out. We'll see how it rolls out in the next year. I also looked at my analytics recently and found that my videos have like 3.5 million impressions. So it's like, you know, thinking about the fact that like 3.5 million people have at least had my video on their screen at some point, either in passing, like, or on the side, or on the home page or something. That's amazing to me. That is so amazing. And if I would have told a younger me that I would have, been seen by millions of people, not even 100, not even 1,000, but millions of people, I would have freaked my younger self out. So this is this is so great, and it's just something that I can continue to dwell on and feel grateful for as I go into the new year and branch into the new leg of this journey. Like I said earlier this year, it is my full intent to take this thing full time. So again, just finding new ways and pivoting and navigating that and how I want to go about that is crucial at the moment. And I appreciate you guys sticking it out and hanging out with me and sticking through this wild journey, because it's been wild. At least it feels like it's been wild on my end. It's like a lot of stuff that you guys don't get to see, but I mean, I'm getting through it. I'm getting through it. So hopefully by the time I graduate, this will be something that I can be like, oh, okay, well, this is like my part-time job now. So I don't know. It's something to think about. All right, so I am pretty sure that is everything I wanted to kind of say today. The main point being that I, again, am so blessed and so grateful to be able to sit here and do this content creation thing and make and just express my creativity with a bunch of people that also do the same thing. I am so proud of the community that we've actually all just collectively built together, and I hope that we'll continue to grow into the new year. There are some new and exciting things that will be happening for Infiniti Crafting Co.'s website, which I will expound upon in future blog posts. So again, if you're not signed up for that newsletter, consider doing so you get notified when blog posts go live. I am going to get off this camera today, enjoy the rest of Christmas, probably cake up all my Christmas yarn and start working on those other projects, guys. I hope you guys have an amazing holiday, and until next time, happy making.